nose, so it's real easy to score. After you've done it a few times, you can pick out those notes right off. And it's questions that will bring up the subject if there are abnormals about looking for autistic features. You do it at 18 months, we repeat it at 2 years. Almost everybody who passes it at 18 months is going to pass it at 2 years. But some of those kids who don't pass it at 18 months might have caught up and may pass it by 2 years. If the parents have a negative answer, an incorrect answer, an answer that's not what we expect, I ask them what they mean by that, so I can understand, do they not understand the question, or is this really a behavior the child's exhibiting? The no questions are shown here, and the C's are what we consider critical, so that if you have one critical, that's a fail. If you have two non-critical, that's a fail. By two, they're so much fun. Is that not the most precious thing in the world? A 2-year-old walking a dog bigger than her. Okay, they're going to want to stand at the sink and wash and dry their hands. They want to pretend like they're helping you around the house. They want to push the vacuum. They want to sweep. They want to put the dishes in the dishwasher. Okay, that one's scary. They will scribble, sometimes even draw a circle. They should be good with their utensils or getting better. Their vocabulary should be 50 words and combining words together. Sometimes I have kids who still aren't saying hardly anything at 2. And then I kind of want to know what's going on with them. Are they a second or third child? Do they have an older sibling who speaks for them? Are they a twin? Twins will often twin talk with the twin but not speak with anybody else. So there can be other things that might affect the speech of a normal 2-year-old that can still be okay. Some of these kids will be speech delayed. Some of them will just start talking one day like they always could but never did. And some of them you actually need to encourage older siblings to let the child talk and not talk for them. And so every situation's unique. If I have somebody who's not doing anything at 2, I reassure the parent that it might be okay. I ask them to spend extra time reading to their child and singing to their child and listening to kids singing on TV shows or tapes, because those are things that really stimulate speech development. And then I send them back at 2.5 to see if they've improved. If they haven't, I'm worried. If they have, then they just needed some more stimulation, or they just needed some more time. A 2-year-old should be able to kick and throw a ball now, and if you want to see something funny, watch them kick a ball. It's really funny. They can open a door, not just a pull-down handle, but turn the knobs, sad, and they can climb upstairs with alternating feet, not just boom, 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 but if you don't know what that means. These kids are challenging. They have to be supervised because they're into everything. Again, I touch on potty training. Are they showing signs of readiness? Do they have the developmental skills? There's lots of philosophies on potty training. Some people believe no pull-ups till you're ready. Some people believe pull-ups is a good step. Some people believe you should do training pants. Some people believe you should let them run around the house naked. I pretty much let my parents decide what they want to do. I just encourage them to think about their child being ready before they try. This is a common question a lot of people don't think about, but when do you take your child out of the crib? The number one answer is when they're crawling out, because it's a safety issue. And then the second answer is if you have another baby coming, you want the child out of the crib if you're going to put the new baby into it, so that the child doesn't think the baby has stolen their bed, because they will. And otherwise, it can be a decision that you make at any time that they want. But a child who's in a crib who's not climbing out is as safe as they can be. And so I leave them in the crib as long as they can. If they're 3 and they're still not climbing out, that's a good age to come out. But once they're out of bed, they can get out of the bed. And then you have a child who gets up and down for half an hour to an hour after they go to bed. And that wears everybody out. Again, assessing the diet, making sure that it's healthy. Reading, reading, reading. Can I say that again? Every parent should read to the kids. If there are older siblings in the household, they should read to the kids. Reading stimulates speech development. You read with a different cadence than you talk with. That cadence gears the kids into listening more. It encourages them to speak more than just talking to them. So if you take a baby who you read books to, and you take a baby who you read the newspaper to, what kid do you think is gonna speak first? Dr. Seuss, not Wall Street Journal. Interactive play, this is what I meant when I said before, a 2-year-old has to start playing with kids his age, or they won't learn to share. Mine is their #1 word in their vocabulary. You may have seen those cute little poems about the 2-year-old, his favorite word is mine. If I see the toy, it's mine. If it's your toy, it's mine. If I break it, it's mine. If I don't want it, it's still mine. So the 2-year-old says the word mine all the time. They don't learn to share unless they're put in a situation of sharing. Older sibs will give them toys. Parents will give them toys so they don't learn to share till they're with someone their own age. 3-year-olds can actually play games together. Isn't that fun? Oops, I think I missed a sheet. Technology. I missed it again. Oh, maybe I just have it in the other order. For development, to start adding new things in. Cat and clams, those are the still ones that we've done, the Denver 2, but now I use block skills. That's a visual, spatial development. So we ask them to draw, to build different block shapes. And then we ask them to start drawing shapes and people. At 3, you have to think about talking about media now. Here's the block skills for the different ages. You can show them a picture, you can build the blocks. I like to build the blocks for them. Preschoolers, again, they're playing together. I talk a lot about safety English. Can you ride a bike? Day. Even if you can just ride a bike with 2 wheels, do you wear a helmet? Do you wear tennis shoes? Do you wear pads? Can you swim? Have you ever taken lessons? Everyone should learn to swim. Parents, take lessons. Seatbelts in the car, bus to school, learn your address and phone number, everything you can to keep your child safe. We start doing hearing and vision screenings at 3 now. It's not on my 3 or 4, but we do at 3, 4, and every year thereafter. This is a school readiness form. If they have a lot of blanks, they have a problem. This is the gazelle, that's draw your own shapes, and then good enough hairs, draw a person. You can draw me the person, and these are your grading scores. And these are kind of easy to look at, there's nothing much different. This is pediatric symptom checklist that can help you assess if your child's adjusting well to school. If they have a high score, it can let you know that there may be issues. Anything from ADD to depression to learning disabilities can be picked up by high scores on this, which lets you know that you need to talk to your parents a little bit more. Kind of gives you the point range there. This is SWILS. I forget what that stands for, but it's SWILS. You have them read it, and at the same time you can use it to talk about safety information. But on the back of it is the number of words they need to be able to say for the age they're at to know that they can pass. And while this looks really silly, it is extremely accurate. You will be surprised. The first time you have a kid fail it, you start talking to the parents about reading and about school, their AR level, and you will find out that it all correlates, that these kids really can't read, and that simple thing will pick it up. So it's a real quick, fast, fun way to assess it in the office if there's more that you need to probe about school. Preteens, they're a whole new set of birds, but a lot of parents have fallen off the bandwagon by now doing well-child visits. So this is a good time to rope them back in at 11 to 12. They need to get shots. Why just give those shots as a nurse visit in the office? We make them come in. We have them do hearing, vision. We talk to them about their lives, schools, friends, extracurricular activities, self-image, eating habits. Weight, is it healthy weight? How do we keep it that way? How do we get it that way? Then we tell them about the shots they're getting, why they're getting them. And I like to ask them what they want to do when they grow up, because I think it's not only interesting, but it'll start them thinking about, okay, I'm going to go to high school, and if I want to do this, I might want to look at a VOTREC plan, I might want to look at a college prep, I might want to skim my way through if all I want to do is be a trash truck driver. But it helps you kind of talk to the kids about thinking about the future. And now you have your teenagers whose life is so different. You want to talk about all of these subjects, not just friends, but their extracurricular activities and their sports, how much media time they have, how much study time they have. Are their classes where they should be? I have kids who take AP classes and are getting Cs, and I say, why? Why are you getting a C in your AP class? If the C is the best you can get, go back, take the regular class and get an A. It's a lot less stressful for you, it's a lot better for your GPA, looks a lot better for college. Because they might not be looking at the fact that that's an AP class that you have a C in it. All they see is a C. And if they're struggling that hard to get a C, why make it that hard? They won't like school. Always talk about driving. Reinforce the laws. Don't drive with a friend until you've driven this long. Don't drive late at night. Are you a good driver? Are you a safe driver? I cannot tell you how many teens I see driving 6 months already had 2 accidents. Another thing we do with our teenagers is we have them fill out screening tests for depression, exposure to drugs and alcohol, and eating disorders. And that's in place of development testing, so that if there are issues, we can make sure that they're looked at. And that's this right here, CADS, CRAFT, and SCOFF. They're all nationally accepted screening tests. And lastly, immunizations, it's not lengthy because it's all right there where it needs to be. If it's different, the recommended ages are the yellow. If there's a different color, it gives you the age variation that it can still be acceptable. If you're gonna follow the standard schedule, which I recommend you do, so that you don't ever have an outlier. For example, if you decide you're not gonna give chickenpox till 2 and you have a 13-month-old die from chickenpox, that's a potential lawsuit. Why did you not discuss chickenpox at a year, which is the recommended age? Is exactly what the lawyer's gonna say to you. It's much better to say, I offered it and the mother turned it down and said she didn't wanna do it to 2, even though I told her why she wanted to do it at 1, for example. It's February and chickenpox season starts in March. You might wanna think about it. Your child could get exposed and get chickenpox, and it may not be the benign disease you think it's gonna be. But if you stick to the schedule, you'll never have anything that way come back to haunt you. Look at immunizations every time your child comes in, not just at well child visits. Kids miss visits, they forget, they don't get rescheduled. They might come in for the next age, but you might not have realized they missed it and didn't get them caught up in their shots. So every time you see them is an opportunity to immunize. So always look at where you are. It's easy to say, oh, you know, you're 13 and I don't see your 12-year-old shots here. Oh my God, we never got it. Let's get you in for a visit. You don't have to do them that day. Let's get you in for a visit. They're now aware that you are aware that they need to do their shots. When they're 10, I say, you're good this year. I want you to come in for a checkup, but you don't have to worry about shots until you're 12. And I tell them that every year so they remember that at 12 they're going to get shots, but until then, they're good. There are a lot of shots. They're a lot safer. We combine them so they get less physical needles. And the shot schedule varies every year slightly. It might be tweaked here or there, but there haven't been a lot of big changes since we combined DTP and polio at 4 years and MMR chickenpox at 4 years. Since we added Gardasil and Menacta to our teenage shots, there haven't been a lot of other changes. So yeah, they're still working on making new vaccines. There's not anything that's right on the horizon. They are working on some things. They might be here someday. They talk about different diseases. Wouldn't it be nice if we had an enterovirus vaccine? Really, enterovirus. But then again, that's what I said about rotavirus 30 years ago too. So I didn't say that about chickenpox. I was always a supporter for a chickenpox vaccine. This is a VIS. You should give them out every time you give a vaccine because that's what they say you have to do. You can print them off for free or you can buy them. But if you print them off for free, you're still doing your ink, so look at your costs. If you want to stay a minute, we'll play. If you need to go, I more than understand because I didn't expect to go so late. But what we're going to do, if you want to pull up your Denvers, that I just had up there, is we have a baby, and you're going to guess how old she is based on her developmental skills. So when you walk into the bedroom to see the baby in the morning, she says, "Mama." She's standing holding on to the side of the crib rail when you see her. And when you go to give her her morning bottle, she grabs it, takes it away from you and feeds herself. How old is she? Anybody want to guess?
9 months.
9 months. Excellent. Okay, now you're going to see your baby who squeals out loud when he sees you. You pick him up and he's got a nice steady head. When you change his diaper, you can pull him up by his hands and he goes straight to a standing position. They didn't really talk about this, but you should know some of that. Anybody want to guess?
4 months.
4 months. Okay, this is a little girl who's not going to share her toys. If another child tries to take him away, she's going to bite him. You can tell her no, she's going to throw a temper tantrum. But after she settles down, she's going to hug you, say she's sorry, and go back to play. How old is she? She is 2. See how fun pediatrics is? If anybody has any questions you want to come down and ask individually, you can. If you want to ask group questions, that's fine too. But if you don't want to keep your classmates here and you want to come down and ask individual questions, that's fine.